Total world domination is what Nike once claimed in the market for sneakers and, well, general sporting goods altogether. But over the last 3.5 years, the stock of Nike has been obliterated, losing almost 75% of value. And only as of recently, the price action in Nike has shown first signs of hope. So right now, of course, the question arises, have we been too late with our target zones and our entries for Nike? Or are we still perfectly aligned for the biggest buy-in opportunity of this decade? Hello and welcome to another video by HKCM Global. My name is Joe, and today I do not want to argue whether it is pronounced Nike or Nike. For the sake of this video here and for the sake of peace, I will pronounce it Nike. And all of you that are firm believers in the fact that it is pronounced Nike, peace be with you. I'm gonna call it Nike. So before we dive straight into the charts and our prediction and wave counts here for Nike stock, what has happened? So Nike, obviously, probably the most iconic manufacturer of sporting goods and definitely most importantly for sneakers. However, especially in this core market for sneakers, that's the spot where Nike has faced their most fierce competition in recent times, most memorable by Hoka shoes and by On Cloud. But that's not all there is to this story. So as just mentioned, and we're jumping right to the chart for this one here. So Nike has had its all-time high in November of 2021. And ever since, up until the bottom, we have seen, let's measure that right here, we have seen a total of 71% of share price lost here for Nike. And part of that, as just discussed, of course, has been the growing competition in the sneakers market, but also the market for sporting goods in the United States. So their core market has been pretty weak due to rising fears of an economic recession. And then this whole trade war with tariff and this threatening war with China and the United States under the new Trump administration didn't help at all. Because as many, if not most, sporting goods, most of the stuff that Nike sells is produced in China. And that, of course, means huge problems if then the Trump administration pushes immense tariffs on those products being brought back to the international markets. And for better or worse, in this time of general crises for Nike, they also switched out their old CEO for a new one that always will shake up things quite a bit and will lead to a time of turmoil and general instability in a stock usually. And then there also was this story where Nike really made headlines for supplying the MLB, so the Major League Baseball, with pants for the players that were just see-through, to be honest. So a lot of bad publicity adding up to this already tough market that Nike then found themselves in. And so that's why, in general, we have concluded that after this wave one top here for Nike in November of 2021, we have so far seen a huge and rather complex correction comprised out of a lot of undercounts here for this WXY wave, probably still in the making for Nike. And I don't want to go into too much detail here, but you can see over this course we have had quite a few target zones that have some of them successfully, some of them not so successfully been hit. So for example, this target zone that you can see here, a perfect tiny but perfect hit here for a short opportunity. Again here, perfect trend reversal hit for a midterm long position and for example up until the next target zone. So that was almost 50% of gains here to be made after already a potential gain of 27% in the short position. So really nothing to complain about. And then here another short to midterm long position target zone up until this target zone, which was just honestly completely annihilated. We did not do a good job with this one here. But before that, great track record here for Nike, I do believe. So then in the general scheme of things, we have also here on the chart set not a target zone, which are these smaller ones, which you can see here and we've just discussed about, but also we have set a trading area. And trading areas is something that we set in the markets and which we communicate to our customers not that often, because trading areas are usually meant for substantial long-term entries into the market. These areas are opportunities that only come up every other blue moon. So usually, if you see a trading area on our charts, this means immense opportunity to get into a market, and opportunity to get into a market which you will probably not revisit in a long time, if ever. And so for me personally, I, as of now, do not have any position in Nike. I would love to get into Nike, but with this recent strength coming here into Nike, this uptick here, this beacon of hope here for Nike, one of course fears and wonders, have we been too late here with our entry to Nike? And as always, I do not have a crystal ball. I cannot tell you with 100% certainty, but what I can tell you is that on basis of our technical Elliott Wave analysis, we do believe that the sell-off for Nike is not over and the final bottom for Nike is yet not in. Meaning that if I bring you here to the more midterm time frame for Nike, this is here the 2-hour chart that I brought here for you, meaning that currently, yes, we do have an alternative scenario on the chart currently marked at 39% probability. And in this alternative scenario, this overreaching wave 2 that you see here following this blue wave 1 top here in brackets, this overreaching wave 2 low here also in blue brackets could potentially already have been in here in the low of 4th of April this year. And this in return, of course, would have meant an early ending here of this Y, final wave Y corrective mode down. However, in our primary scenario, we still expect that this trading area will come to fruition here at the 76.4 Fibonacci retracement on the upper boundary and the 88.7 retracement on the lower boundary. So quite a bit target zone. And me personally, I would definitely seek to go into the market at the very, very upper limit of this trading area. And so that would then mean that in this final Y leg down here into this trading area, so the Y wave following this X wave here, and remember if you find that a little bit odd in the size comparison here, so with a WXY corrective action, usually the X wave is rather short, it's more of a connecting wave, so do not wonder why this Y wave here is so much larger than this beforehand X wave. This is something that's completely normal in the markets. And in here, in this undercount for this Y wave, we conclude that currently we have seen the wave A low in already, and the price action ever since that we have seen here in Nike stock is only a corrective B top, which could potentially already have topped out here, or could also go a little bit higher still against this upper resistance at $82.44. And as long as we remain under this resistance of $82.44, we still stick to our primary scenario of this final sell-off into our trading area to still occur and to still remain the primary scenario and primary expectation. And if you yourself also are not yet in the market but would love to go into the market at Nike, I would highly advise you to not just wait for a video coming out up randomly here in this channel, but to maybe go to our website, link down there in the description, and consider becoming a subscriber to the US Titans package where Nike is a part of, because there you can get daily updates on a number of different stocks out of the American market, and you will also get notifications on changes of all the scenarios that we do have, and you will also get push notifications for entries to our model portfolio. And so for me personally, the takeaway here is in this analysis, I will be waiting here on the sidelines, because as of now the probabilities are clear tilted in the direction of Nike still making another lower low, and there I will definitely load up heavily on Nike because I do believe in the company. I think the company is great. Of course, there's a lot of childhood memories attached to it, and that of course can be troublesome, connecting investment with emotions. However, it's not always the worst idea to also own companies, not just because there's some huge scenario up there that they will go to the moon, but that it is a company that you connect to and where you have memories with. So basically owning something that you really have ownership in. And then lastly, to sum it all up, what is then our long-term projection for Nike? If they are to drop into this trading area here, or also if they are to take out this resistance here and then establish the secondary scenario as the then primary. So if that happens, we see in the charts that from either current levels, we would have a minimum price target for the Wave 3 roughly in the ballpark of another 350% here for this Wave 3, or even better, if we are to drop into this trading area as we currently still expect in our primary scenario, we would then not see 350% but even 700% of price gains in our primary scenario in the next upcoming Wave 3 for Nike. Sounds quite radical for such a huge established company like Nike. However, from their top back in 2021, so already 4 years in the past, so from this recent top, this would only be an 80 to 90% price increase. And so all of a sudden, this price target here in the high or low 300s doesn't even sound all that ambiguous anymore. You know, in the markets, it's oftentimes like this. It is mostly a matter of perspective. And who in the end is right or wrong remains to be seen. Up until then, see you in the next one. Take care.